My name is Brieana Salter. I am the president and founder of the Loopy Girl Inc.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, we're going to get some health game for those of you who know somebody, or even in the future. It's just always good to know what other people are going through. I have the Loopy girl. You guys can see the name. That's not her, real name, but that is the organization and her social media handle, which will be in the description and all that. So you guys can follow to get more information. But we're talking lupus today, a very serious thing that so many people are dealing with. So, Brieana, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Blessed by the best over here. Tell people, why did you create this organization and just, more about it.
So the Loopy Girl was created due to the fact that I had been diagnosed with lupus. I had got diagnosed with lupus in 2010, and at the time, lupus was still it wasn't as talked about as much. I didn't really know a lot of people my age. I was 18 at the time. There were a lot of people that could not help me because of the fact that they did not know and could not understand. They didn't understand lupus. And so, of course, I tried to gain information. I tried to kind of seek out help, but a lot of times the help that I was seeking was from older women, older people, and I felt like I could not relate. And so I thought it would be great to just start blogging. Something that's very special about the Loopy Girl is the Loopy Girl started out as a blog where I would just kind of talk about different things that I was experiencing living with lupus. And the support just grew from those living with lupus as well as the community, which pushed me to create it and turn it into a nonprofit. The Loopy Girl, does help those living with lupus and other chronic illnesses. And of course, lupus is a chronic illness that affects the immune system. So it doesn't affect just one thing, it can affect everything. It's where the body is attacking itself, pretty much the immune system, the good bacteria, the good antibodies that, help our bodies fight against different infections and illnesses actually turns against us and ends up fighting everything, which is the bad things that, like the colds and the illnesses, as well as the good things that, are supposed to protect us, um, in our lives. And so, with that, lupus attacked my kidneys where, now I'm on dialysis. And I just felt that it was my purpose to continue to go about and help those who are living with lupus continue to live their lives. Before, Loopy Girl, really started to grow, even though I was living with lupus and was diagnosed with lupus and renal failure, I still felt that I could do whatever I put my mind to. So I still went off to school and received my bachelor's and my master's degree. And today I'm, a professor at a local state college. And I wanted people that were living with chronic illness to understand that they could still accomplish whatever goal it was that they wished to accomplish. All they needed was a little bit of, encouragement, motivation, inspiration, as well as a guide to the resource into which where they were trying to go. So
I love that because people really don't know when you say lupus, like, the aches, the pains and all that. And somebody could look at you, especially for all that you accomplished, and say, nah, you look fine. You're beautiful. What are you talking about? You got issues, or, they might, they don't understand what your body, and there's so many conditions out there. And so many quack doctors out there nowadays on YouTube who will talk about, medicine is guess medicine at best. I'm married to medicine, and this is what the doctors tell me when I'm sitting at the table, and I'm like, okay, guess medicine at best. Who wants to hear that, right? But it's an educated guess that they spend many years doing. Can you talk about some of those symptoms? Because there's some people who will battle this and then they won't go get checked out. And lupus can get fatal. So talk about some of those things and why you can look so good, like you could, coming out of a video, but you're still having aches and pains that are serious. And people need to take those symptoms if they're feeling any of that seriously.
Mhm. So believe it or not, you said something that was so it just it sent the light going off in my head. Because I tell Lupies, that's what we call people living with lupus. We tell Lupies all the time that doctors are educated guessers, and that's not to take any way, it's not to take anything away from them. Doctors are very knowledgeable and very skilled. However, lupus is just not a illness that I think a lot of doctors kind of dive into and really understand. And sometimes, believe it or not, lupus, those symptoms, the symptoms I'm about to list can a lot of times mimic other illnesses. And so that's why it takes so long a lot of times for people to be, really diagnosed with lupus. So some symptoms can include, body ache. So for instance, you can wake up one day and feel perfectly fine, and literally the next moment you are aching, your knees, your joints, your skin. Sometimes, those living with lupus experience a burning sensation among the skin. You can experience alopecia in your hair. You can be missing hair can start falling out, and you can kind of develop rashes throughout the head. That is also a form of lupus. You can start to experience issues with your organs. So you can develop lupus nephritis, which is where lupus starts attacking the kidney. So that's why it's so important to, see your physician and, get checked out. There is a blood test that usually you can take that will determine whether or not your markers are positive for lupus, which a lot of rheumatologists usually go by. A rheumatologist is a doctor that specializes in treating lupus patients. Um, what else? Pretty much just having a rash. A rash is like the main indication. That was what I was experiencing when I first was diagnosed with lupus. It is known as a malar or butterfly rash. It's known as a malar or butterfly rash. Sometimes you can experience high blood pressure just out of nowhere. And, a little fun fact, high blood pressure can cause other issues down the line, which, renal failure is one of them. What else can I think of? Fatigue. Fatigue is like another major symptom that someone living with lupus could experience. And the fatigue, you may feel like, dog, like, I slept all day. Like, how I don't understand why I feel so tired and I feel so fatigued. And literally, lupus will drain you. You feel like you haven't done much, and you are trying to get out of bed and kind of going with your day, and you're just having a hard time. Sensitivity to foods could definitely be a symptom. So those are just some of the basic symptoms of lupus.
And at what age? Because you're young. When you're over 40, everybody's young who's under. So you're young. And what age? And did I know sometimes having children, people find out after then, and nobody knows the direct cause. But when you do your Google search and put on your own doctor hat, just what age, and let people know if you had children or not, because some people say, "Oh, I'll go get checked," if what I heard from her, but I just trying to make everything relate, because whether you have children or not, no matter your age, if you got these symptoms, y'all need to go get checked out, please.
Right. And so, I've been asked this question before in regards to kids. If I have lupus, can I have children? The answer is yes, you can have children. Do I have any children? I do not. However, have I experienced, a miscarriage? I have. However, it's very important to make sure that you understand, when it comes to, Lupies getting pregnant, it is something that most likely needs to be planned, especially because of the different medications, the different things that are happening to the body. And so you want to make sure that you go to the doctor and kind of, have that conversation. So as you make that decision and go about it, your body, your mind, all of that can be prepared. A lot of times those who are pregnant are viewed as high risk pregnancies because of course, the body is under stress. Stress is another symptom that I, did not mention that could really affect a person living with lupus. And so if that person is pregnant, the body is under stress, which could cause kind of the body to kind of, flare up. And so, it's very important to make sure that, you seek a physician as, to get the proper information, the proper guidance. And it was something else. I lost my train of thought for a second. But yeah, it's very important to make sure that you seek a physician in regards to childbirth. I was diagnosed with lupus at 18 years old. Most people that are most women, because lupus is not a women's disease, men can be diagnosed with lupus. But lupus does affect mainly women of color between the ages of 14 and 44, which are childbearing years. However, again, those living with lupus can, in fact, bear children.
Now, with, having lupus, are you able then, I can hear somebody say, can I get a parking sticker? Is it considered a disability? And I know on your Instagram you had one, but who knows if that was the reason why you had one. So let people know. And I say that because I have a team member over here who was diagnosed with Bell palsy. And I tell you, he rides it out every chance he gets. And he lets people know, I'm disabled right now. And again, it's some things that happen to you after 40. If you can catch a break, you take it, So, let people know about that, because to some people, they'll say, oh, I can get a sticker. I'll go get checked out if I can get something for myself. They won't even think about their health. They're thinking about what type of parking they can get.
Right. Um, so something that is so funny with that, believe it or not, with I call it a VIP sticker, with the disability sticker, a lot of times all the parking spots be taken anyway. And so when I pull up, I always say, dog, everybody handicapped today, right? And so in order to receive a handicap sticker, you have to have, it's a form that you get on the Department of Motor Vehicles website, the driver license website, where you can update your license and all that other stuff. And you have to have a physician sign off on it. So you can't just go there and say, hey, I'm disabled. I can show you paperwork. You can even show them paperwork. You can show them that, you have this chronic illness, and they still will not give you one. It's a certain form that you have to sign, and the doctor has to deem that you need the parking decal. If the doctor feels that if you're not having issues, short of breath or anything like that, or it's not a difficulty for you to walk from place to place, then the doctor will not issue you one. However, if he feels that you could benefit from it, he could provide you with one. For me, I live with lupus and renal failure. I've experienced 2 kidney transplants. So yes, walking far distances is not good for me. And so of course, and especially, I was very sick at the time, but I was still, working and doing what I needed to do. And so of course, my physician said that, I needed one because, I wasn't sick right now. Well, I was sick at that moment, really sick. And there would be a time that I would be fine, but because lupus is just so fluid, there was a possibility that I could, come to a point where I would have difficulties again. And so that's how he issued the VIP sticker. And just like, your colleague, I feel the same way. I will be honest and say I use it everywhere, as well as, just embracing and looking at the positive sides, because that's something that I preach about, turning our negatives into positives. And, looking at my disability as more of a positive and, using it to encourage others to, you know, be comfortable in living with their illness, because believe it or not, a lot of people of color, our community, we have this thing of just kind of being quiet about it, or not telling people about our illness, or just kind of keeping it in the house. You're not allowed to go out in the community and talk about what goes on inside your house. And your health is your personal business, and the goal of the Loopy Girl is also to just, make those, make people living with chronic illnesses comfortable to talk about it and reach out for help if need be.
Okay. And when you say people of color, I assume you mean Black people, right?
I do.
Okay, we talk Black over here because when the government writes something of people of color, then we're the last ones to get something. Everybody else will get something, but it'll be Black folk. Hold on, y'all said it was for some of it was for us or all of it, and so I'd rather be colored folks because at least we knew what we were talking about. Oh, but tell me this, because I know it's happened to you, because it's happened to me when I had a temporary sticker at one point trying to get my knee right after an accident. But I know somebody has probably harassed you before coming out of your parking. Ain't nothing wrong with you. How'd you get a sticker and not knowing that you might have just had a seizure, which lupus can cause, and you've had before when I looked, can you talk about those scenarios and how that makes you feel? And this is really for all the Karens out there who get in other people's business and want to tell people where and how they can park. Because it's Florida. Everybody is able to pack without a license now.
So it's so funny. So in this life, on this journey, I have been harassed about two or three times. Because of course, when people look at me, I look normal. I look healthy, and of course, that is my goal, to debunk the look of what being sick looks like. Because there are people who are walking around with illnesses, people that are walking around with HIV that looks just like me, and people don't even realize that that person is on a, in a battle, to maintain their health, and so yes, one time I was getting out at this little restaurant, and I got out, and in the next handicap parking spot, there was a lady. There was a Karen parked, and I got out, and I'm minding my business. I'm minding my business. I get out, and I'm walking into the to walk to the building, and before I could reach for the door, she said, "Excuse me." I mean, very polite. She was like, "Excuse me, excuse me." She was like, "You do know that that's a handicap parking spot. That parking spot is only designated for those who are deemed disabled." And my reaction, I was not, now that in hindsight, I was not proud of the reaction that how I reacted to this old. I mean, she was a little frail, little Karen, and I felt bad after the fact, but at that moment, I was hot. And so what I did was I took my shirt, because I had a shirt like this, and I did this. And I said, "But I am disabled." But I said it very loud. I put some extra stuff into it, I razzle dazzled it up. And her face was just like, and I just kind of turned around and I walked off. And I was very, very upset. That was the first time it had ever happened to me. And I was very, very upset because of the fact that, I was kind of like, mind your business, like, I have the sticker here. What else you want?
Your business. She want to know your business, and you explain the condition to her. That's what she want.
Yeah, and I did feel bad afterwards, I will admit. But at that moment, I was like, Like, no. Another time I was at Walmart, Wally World, and I got out, and as I got out, the Karen, she was just kind of like, are you do know, like, that's a handicap, that's a disabled parking spot. You can't park there. I was like, who said that? That was the first thing I asked. I was like, well, who said that? And she was like, they can come by and they can tow your car. And I was like, well, tow my car for what? I have the sticker there. And she was like, yeah, but you can't use someone else's sticker. So, of course, I did the same thing again and just kind of took my shirt and just kind of was like, but I am disabled. And then I kind of started to school her a little bit and just tell her, like, just because I look healthy to you and to others does not mean that I'm not sick, does not mean that I'm, I can walk, a long distance in this parking lot. We all know that Walmart parking lots are humongous, and a lot of times it's very seldom you can get a parking spot closer to the front. You would have to literally sometimes park on the side to get, find a closer parking spot. So yes, I've had a seizure, and I actually almost had a seizure in public. Thank God I was in the emergency room when it happened. But seizures are not fun. So however, I look just like this. It was a normal day. I was going to, once you get a transplant, you have to constantly go to the hospital to get checked out. And literally, because my pressure was so high, they automatically will admit you. So literally, I just walked from one side of the hospital to the other. I didn't have any headaches, no anything. And as soon as I sat down, I had a seizure. So it can happen.
Brieana, we got the Karens, and hopefully they mind their business so they don't get a two-piece or worse. All we want to do is push love and peace. But when y'all jump in someone's business and don't know the scenario, but this is also Lupus, and you could make it, I think more hip and aware, because think about this. Think if somebody like Sukiana had lupus. All that booty eating and everything she talking about would be a whole different, your tongue after a seizure. You've shown it. You've been so, bold to show it. It would be a whole different thing. But it's not just lupus. It's like there's so many things out there that you don't want to be swapping bodily fluids with everybody. But let people know, though, as far as we know, lupus is not contagious. So I want to make sure people know, if they touch your hand, give you a hug, because I can, people, when they don't know, oh, I don't want to get that. And it's like, you can't get that. So please explain that in case I got anything wrong.
And I'm so happy that you brought that up, because that is a huge stigma when it comes to lupus. A lot of people think that lupus is like contagious or you can sexually transmit it. And a lot of new Lupies, especially those who have just been diagnosed with lupus, because they don't know, a lot of times that's part of the reason as to why they don't share the fact that they have lupus. So lupus is not contagious. It is not an illness that you can contract from someone. They're still working on studies as to what factor, is causing lupus into people, with people. They do believe that stress, they do believe in, the environment, things from the environment. A question that's been brought up is, around it being hereditary. That is still up in research. And for me personally, I have two family members who are living with lupus as well. It's just that, my journey living with lupus is a little bit, not a little bit, but a lot more intricate. I've had more health complications, whereas they have just kind of dealt with the malar rashes and joint pains and things like that. So no, it's not sexually transmitted. It's not that type of illness.
Okay, or even by hands, because I'm old enough to remember in the 80s, and folks, they'd have all type of, you don't use that person's comb. It might not just be lice. And when people didn't really know what was, going on with HIV, they thought that, I don't touch anybody with that. And my mother worked in the hospital at one point, and she told me she shook a man's hand when she was alive. She's like, she shook his hand,
I said when she was alive, because she's passed, like she would do it when she's dead, right? That would be a little odd. but you know, she said who had HIV, and he said, oh, nobody shakes my hand. And she's like, I'm not gonna get to know you that well, I'm not worried. So you guys, if you meet somebody with lupus, or if you go to an event, which the Loopy girl has events and we're gonna hear about them, or if you know want to support this movement, don't treat people like they're aliens or like they're lepers or anything else. There are people who are battling stuff. And if you live long enough, you probably will be battling something with yourself and you want the same grace. So let the people know about like any of the events or any of the community givebacks the Loopy Girl organization is doing.
So when it comes to the Loopy Girl, yes, we are doing events. We are actually the Loopy Girl board retreat. So that is where all the board members of the Loopy Girl come together and they spend a day together. And within that day, they come up, you know, well, we all come up with all the things that we are going to do for the fiscal year. So things that we've done in the past that we've done multiple times. So I know there might be change to the schedule this year, but a few events that we've had that we may end up having is, for example, we have a paint and sip. And when we first did it, we only allowed Loopies to attend, but we got a lot of backlash from, you know, people who support those living with lupus. They wanted to be a part of that day. So last year we had an amazing turnout when it came to our paint and sip. So most likely we'll end up having that event as well. May is Lupus Awareness Month, and that is when the Loopy Girl hosts most of their events. Another event is something we have. It's called Lupus and Libations. Lupus and Libations is literally a very laid back atmosphere where we are looking for people that are not living with lupus, people that are, you know, supporters, who want to be supporters, who want to receive more information in regards to lupus. It is a all you can drink, all you can eat bar. And there'll be music and, you know, it's just a chill vibe. And, you know, we chill for a little bit and then, you know, the floor opens where we then talk about, you know, lupus and how we as supporters can be more supportive of those living with lupus. Another initiative that we have is the Loopy's Gift of Gratitude. So usually a day in May, we pretty much will give back to Loopies to let them know that they are loved. Something that Loopies talk about all the time is how other illnesses are so heavily recognized. You know, so for instance, a lot of people talk about breast cancer and, you know, how a lot of, you know, cities will paint that entire city, you know, their color pink, right? And so of course, Loopies kind of, you know, they want that same treatment. They want to be recognized. They want, you know, they feel that their illness is a definitely devastating illness that should be observed. So, you know, we take that moment to give back to them, give them you know, gratitude and show gratitude, thanking them for continuing on their journey. Because of course, you know, a lot of people that are living with lupus face a lot of mental health issues, you know, anxiety, depression, you know, and sometimes thoughts of suicide, unfortunately. Another event that we have is our annual fundraiser. Usually we have a brunch every year. And this year, we don't know what we may have. We may have a brunch, we may have a gala, but it will happen. And so, of course, you know, I will keep you updated with what, you know, what is, you know, what is coming. However, you could visit our website, you know, at www.theloopygirl, so LUPIEGIRL.org. Where you can, you know, keep up with us and keep a lookout for, you know, the events that are coming. You know, once we have that board meeting, a calendar is created and the calendar is posted months in advance for, you know, people to prepare and to purchase tickets and, you know, choose, you know, whatever they would like to be a part of. And so, of course, I thank everyone for their support now and in the future.
And one event she did not mention that I'm excited and that I saw even before I believe meeting you in our group, shout out to the EC2 crew, was the Derby. You know, when you put black folks in Derby, they get to dress up, cute hat, nice suits, all that. You guys go check out the website for more information. Get your tickets early, because I have a feeling that event sells out. For somebody who goes to polo events and dressage events out here in Palm Beach County, just because I live in the country and it's right down the street. You know, it's like the Derby. I know my people show up and show out for the Derby, and just to show out for the clothing and everything. People, horses, and, you know, people want to be around what is perceived to be wealth, not knowing that most people who have horses would tell you this is a money pit.
So I do want to elaborate on that a little bit, and that is my fault. I totally apologize. Because it's an amazing experience so far. And so the Loopy girl, well, first off, you have something called the Lux Style Experience, and they have an event every year called the Lux Derby, which is a derby event. A lot of people ask, well, is it like a derby themed event, or is it a real derby? And the answer is, it is a real derby. There are real horses. People bet on those horses. People dress up, you know, for the derby, and it's actually a 3-day weekend event. And so of course Friday night, there's kind of like a little gathering, party, welcome party, and that's where the Loopy girl will be introduced. Every year what they do is that they recognize a nonprofit that's in the community on the ground doing amazing work. And for the 2023-2024 year, they chose the Loopy girl. And so they have been so amazing. And there, that Friday night, like I said, they will you know, talk about the Loopy girl. Everybody welcome, have a good time. Saturday is the Derby. And so of course everybody will be dressed up in their you know, derby fashion. I've heard a lot of people are even getting custom dresses made. I'm definitely one of them. And Sunday they are having a yacht party, and so it is a weekend of fun. It is a weekend, and believe it or not, the Lux Derby literally is for blacks. It is a black derby. You know, urban, you know, I don't know what word people like to use, but urban black. So you'll hear hip hop, you'll hear, you know, jazz, you'll hear all of those, that type of music. So I'm excited. And yes, I think it will be an amazing event. So it's actually the first weekend of February, because of the simple fact, you know, it's a Black History Month. A lot of people had questioned me about why it was in February, because the actual Kentucky Derby, even though it's not the Kentucky Derby, is in another month. So that is the reason why it is in the first weekend of February. And believe it or not, when it came to derbies and all of that, back then Black people were racing. It was a heavily Black sport. So please come out. Please enjoy the fun, the food, the music, the people, the networking. So those business owners, bring your business cards, because there will be a point to network. And so yeah, I'm excited for that event. And I'm so sorry to didn't share it. I was just thinking of like our annual events. So thank you for reminding me.
Oh, no worries. One of the gifts is being extremely nosy. So when you're nosy and get into people's business,
because I will forget. Okay, this mine,
yeah.
you know, it's only this big and can only hold so much.
This is one of the rare positions, because I surely don't call it a job, but one of the rare positions, being that I am as a consultant or PR guy, whatever people want to call me, where being nosy actually benefits you. When you were in school or you were at home, you got in trouble for being nosy.
Right.
You got beat really for being too nosy. But it was a different time. But you know, men, you come out, get your bowler hats, you know, and get your bowler hat now. See if Temu has some of them hats, y'all. Don't hate it. Yeah.
They don't Temu now.
Yeah, don't hate on T-Boy. T-Mo was about to furnish a whole room in my house for $10. Yeah.
But I my whole trip, I just went to Jamaica, Haiti, and the Bahamas, and my whole wardrobe was between Temu with all my fans and whatnot, and my clothes were from Shein. So
Okay, well, you done messed up right now because you said Haiti. That's like saying Africa over here. I love Jamaica, been there, done that, and so have y'all in the audience, many of you. But Haiti is one of those places. Did you go on a cruise or did you really touch the people? And
I went on a cruise. So I went to Labadee, which is a part that's owned by Royal Caribbean. And I went. My boyfriend is Haitian. And so of course we didn't know what to expect going to Labadee. His mother had already warned us as far as like how far to go. And so we went, but it was it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It just was, I think took what kind of hurt the experience was that they did not allow, because my boyfriend does speak Creole, so he asked the people, the local people on the land, if there was, Haitian food, and they told him no. Royal Caribbean doesn't allow people on the island to come and bring those authentic Haitian foods for people that do travel there to experience it. And he was very upset, but I kind of placed it kind of from a Royal Caribbean's perspective. Because when people think of Haiti, of course, a lot of people are afraid of Haiti. And so, you just never know. You never know, what can happen to the food. You don't know. So that possibly, could be why. That was pretty much the conversation that we had. So, he talked to the people. He was excited that, because he hadn't been to Haiti since he was a little kid. So he was very excited, to, talk to the people on the island. And, of course, we enjoyed, Labadee while we were there. So
I mean, this is totally sidetracked, but they didn't have Haitian food, so they didn't have their fried pork because it's easy to do. Did they have any pickles or anything?
that's what he was looking for. It was not there. On the island, they had jerk chicken. My father is from Jamaica, so that was the reason we went on the cruise, is because he had never been to Jamaica and I had never been to Haiti. And make when we went to Jamaica, there was jerk chicken there. There was jerk chicken there. There was rice and peas. There was the ability to get off and go to, now in Haiti, there was you could go and explore, but everybody was fearful. So nobody went to go on excursions and learn the history. Like everybody kind of stayed very close to the ship for the most part. But there was no on that island they had jerk as well. And they didn't have any griot or black rice. I don't know what it's I can't remember what it's called, but they didn't have black rice. They didn't have, those staple, Haitian foods.
Okay, and you said no pickles either. They didn't even have no pickles. Woo-wee, Royal Caribbean. Y'all need to rehire somebody because that just makes sense. You don't even have to have Haitians coming off from the main, area to get that. I got some pickles. Pickles never goes bad, and the older the better. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Well, let the people know, because I really want people to go tap in and go to the website. It's a beautiful, clean website. Like my Irish twin over there in Mar-a-Lago, we like clean websites. We like beautiful people, doing big things, bigly things. But let the people know where they can find you, and you guys, I just want you to tap in because some of y'all need to donate more to nonprofits. You complain, but here's an opportunity right here where you can actually donate to a great cause. So give them the game where they can find you.
Yeah. So you can find us on our website at www.theloopygirl, Loopy, Lupie, girl, girl.org. If you click .com, it'll just take you. So many people use .com, but it's .org. Also, you can find us on Instagram and you can find us on Facebook at The Loopy Girl. The same, we're on LinkedIn. So, even if, you have a question, I've had people on LinkedIn and they're like, oh, I saw you, and it reminded me of, whatever it is they wanted to, talk about, donate, if you have questions, I'm always open for questions. Also, my email, you can email me personally, at B as in boy, Salter, S as in Sam, ALTER at theloopygirl.org.
You guys have been blessed with the game. Now it's your time and your turn to participate. You can do that in comments. You can do that in liking and subscribing, but really you can also do that by sharing this game. It will change somebody's life. Y'all be blessed.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand, or 10,000 Kenyan shillings, or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from KELLEN Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.